Hey everyone, Voodoo here. So I'm here today with the second half of my raid review where I go over the dungeon journal. So if you want to see the first half, you can click a link down in the description. I go over the first, I think 4 or 5 bosses. I think 4 bosses. In this video, we're going to finish off the raid, go over the last 5, give you my thoughts on them. Now again, these are before raid testings come out, so keep that in mind as we go through. I will be streaming raid testing both the Thursday and the Friday of this week, so if you want to watch that, there's links down below to my Twitch. Go check it out, 4 p.m. Eastern each day on the Thursday and the Friday this week. I think it's the 13th and 14th, and again the week after. So check those out if you want to come watch some raid testing, see what's up with the new raid, and yeah, so enjoy the video, let me know what you think. Maybe you guys are enjoying some of these 10.2 content. Subscribe, hit the like button, comment, all the good stuff, help spread the video, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time, so enjoy. All right, so next up is Lara, Keeper of the Flame. This is the 5th boss of the dungeon. So the whole idea here is this guy has 2 different phases. This one's pretty complicated. So the first 40% of his HP, he's all burning. So all of his mechanics inflict this thing called Igniting Growth, which is a mythic mechanic. And then he summons a bunch of ads. So the ads he summons are these treants, and then these roots or thorns or whatever. So he summons a treant, treant spreads flame around, and then whenever they die, they explode and turn into a charred treant. And then whenever the charred treants are healed to full health by a healer, they become renewed treants, which then go give their health into this dream seed. And the whole idea here is to play around the dream seed. So the other thing that happens are these roots. So these roots are on the ground, and whenever they get hit by whenever they get doused by Dream Blossom, which is this mechanic from the Nature's Gift, they kind of pop up, and you can kill them, heal them, and it forms a wall. And this wall is important. It also has like a tank charge, which isn't too bad. Just watch out for the charge. Nothing too like crazy here. And then whenever he gets to his target, he deals a ton of damage, and you just kind of don't want to be hit by that. Makes sense. Blazing Thorns is just like these things he summons on the ground. You basically have to interrupt these orbs. So he summons Blazing Thorns, a growth of Blazing Thorns. At the end of the growth, a Blazing Coalescence is produced, and another spiral growth returns to Lara. So these orbs, basically what they do is the Blazing Thorns cause fire to coalesce into orbs. Absorbing an orb inflicts damage to you, but also increases your critical strike chance by 20% for 10 seconds, and then he draws the orbs to him. So the whole idea here is you're basically killing and dealing with these ads, healing them so that they help you in the fight, and then absorbing these orbs to get more critical strike chance to kill the ads faster. The reason you want to kill these ads and make this barrier is at 100 energy, he does a ton of waves of fire, and you stand behind these barriers to avoid them, and then he just kind of has just damage, basically. So nothing too crazy there, just pulsing damage for healers to heal. The whole nature of the first part of the fight, the first 60%, is he summons ads, heal ads to full. Whenever the ads are healed to full, these little treants go to the dream seed, the dream blossom, and whenever that happens, you can pick it up and you can carry it around and douse the flames on the ground and also the branches on the ground that hunt players down. The branches on the ground you have to kill, and then you have to heal them, and they make a barrier. The barrier helps you live through his 100 energy mechanic, and then there's also just these crit orbs that you can absorb to help you deal more damage. So that's the first 60%. So already a lot going on here. We're not even halfway through the boss yet. 60%, there's like 80 different mechanics. Intermission, he 40% health, he just starts pulsing out a ton of damage. Nothing too crazy there. Don't get sucked into him, don't be under him. Shit ton of damage from the boss. And then after that, at 40%, we go into Avatar of Ash. So at this point, things start to fall from the sky. Don't be in them. You get a stack of Searing Ash to all players. Oh, sorry, no. You do want to be in these. You want to soak these. Because if they do hit the ground, you just get a stack of Searing Ash, which you don't want. So you want players to soak these. And then he targets players to erupt with fire. And then after that, they get a healing absorb. And if you don't, and they're stunned during the healing absorb. So yay, more stuns. Hey, we have a sub. Thank you, Latan. Appreciate it. Anyway, so they're stunned. You don't want to be stunned. Being stunned is bad. So healers heal your friends up, basically. And then there's just kind of a lot of damage that amps up during the course of this phase. So this one's interesting. So Smoldering Backdraft reminds me a lot of a fight from the good old Hungering Destroyer. So what happens here is you unleash like a thing to players in front of him. It's a big cone. And then the cone reduces healing effects received by 100%, and it inflicts a ton of fire damage. But you also leech health whenever you're near hit allies. So You're leeching this HP from your friends as a tank in order to stay up. And then there's also the treants, which don't do a ton of things. They just leave burning ground, and you just kill them, and then he does Searing Ash, which just does more damage. So P1, you're dealing with ads, you're dousing things, you're absorbing orbs. P2, sorry, intermission, there's a bunch of damage. P3, you are soaking things that fall from the sky. You are having your healers heal you up or else you're stunned. And then your tank is going to get a frontal, and you have to stack on your tank. So lots of things going on in this fight. Very, very interesting fight. Could be a like middle ground, mid boss wall. We'll have to see. But it's all about space, like dealing with space, making sure your space is well maintained and kept from the fire. Dealing with all the ads, dealing with the critical strike orbs in P1. P2 is just a bunch of healing, soaking things, and then just healing absorb. So lots of things going on here for a 5th boss. We'll have to see how it turns out. It feels like there's a lot of moving parts, honestly. Like it's too complex, but we'll have to see. It's interesting at least. There's lots of stuff they haven't done before. So I'm all for experimentation and stuff like this. So we'll see what happens with it, but it sounds interesting to say the least. All right, so we're here with boss 6, Naimu. So Naimu is really interesting. She's like a wing end boss, I think. I think Lara is the other one. Basically, Naimu has one real big mechanic called Continuum. So 100% energy, she draws in energy and fires a bunch of beams on the ground, doing a ton of damage to everybody. And the beams make a verdant matrix on the ground. So she holds her staff, and the staff shoots out these like lasers that like carve an image into the ground. And if you walk over one of the lines that the image on the ground has, you let out a burst of damage to the entire raid. So the whole idea is to just not walk over the line. You're playing the floor is lava. You can't cross the line. They're like lasers. So no idea how Havoc's going to do in there with momentum. That'll be fun. Maybe we don't play momentum there. But basically the whole thing is just space denial and dealing with that. So there's ways that you like interact with that. She coalesces these things that rush players and knocks back people in their path. So there's a knockback. And then there's also this thing where she summons the Cycle Warden that while he's up, he does he basically causes the boss to take no damage. And then every 4 seconds he deals 50 to 8,000 damage and causes a violent flora to spread, which is space denial. 5 seconds it erupts and then deals damage to all players. So you're in this tight space where you can't cross a beam. You're being knocked back. You're dealing with this ad that causes air denial for 5 seconds. So lots of things here about moving around this space. Now we don't know what they look like. The whole idea is to just not cross over this beam on the ground. So then tank effect, who cares? Tank thing reduces movement speed. Where the tank has to get away. Oh, okay. So 2 tank things. One of them is just a big blast. The other one reduces movement speed and deals a ton of damage to you. And whenever it goes away, you deal damage to everybody. And the further away you are, the less damage you deal. Pretty common, but there's an interesting wrinkle because of the floor pattern that you have to like kind of walk through. So we'll see how that goes. And then there's just the healing mechanic. So pretty simplistic boss in terms of number of mechanics, but the whole fight is based on how restrictive that floor pattern is going to be. We don't know if there'll be multiple floor patterns. We don't know if there's going to be 1 or 2 or 3 or if it's random. But the whole idea here is to avoid these patterns on the ground and not walk over them while dealing with mechanics that cause you to move. So this is a really unique boss, and this is either going to be one of the best bosses in the instance or the worst boss in the instance, and there will be nothing in the middle. It's going to either be such a home run out of the park that it's amazing and everyone talks about it, or it's going to be so miserable that it sucks and everyone talks about it. And it's all hinging on how good or bad or whatever these verdant matrices are, how easy it is to deal with the mechanics while the boss tries to make you walk over the lines. Very cool. I'm guessing that like Fell Rush and like Leap and things like that will cause you to blow up the raid by doing that. And it's not like you're going to wipe by going over the floor if one person does it, but if multiple people do it, you're dead. So we'll see. Really cool concept. We'll see how it translates into the game, and it's also a tier boss, and it drops a rare staff that doesn't do anything right now, but probably get something. So really interesting to see how this one works out. We gotta wait for raid testing for this, but overall really solid and like unique, interesting design. So this one's pretty sick. I do gotta give Blizzard props for still coming up with new bosses after so many raids. So we'll see when this one goes live. That's just all I can say for it, really. All right, so we're moving on straight and fast to the 7th boss, Smolderon. Now, Smolderon has no model in the Dungeon Journal, so ignore this, but he's basically the Fire Lord. He's Ragnaros 2, Electric Boogaloo. So he has 2 mechanics, and I don't remember what they are, so we're going to read them together for the same time, because it's been a little while since I've done this. So he has this one thing, which I'm pretty sure is a big soak. So he decimates his primary target, inflicting a ton of physical, and an additional 2.4 million fire split. Yeah, so he does a big soak, and then everyone hit is afflicted with Cauterizing Wound. Cauterizing Wound is just this massive healing absorb, then removing that creates an explosion at a location a few minutes later. So you basically have to stack up for the tank explosion, you all get a healing absorb on you, and then the raid has to be healed, and then you all explode. And then basically people that are hit by Cauterizing Wound people with Cauterizing Wound that are hit by flame waves create more waves. So don't get hit, basically. And the explosion is an explosion. And then there's also this thing where tank gets hit, has to run away. So, you know, pretty common stuff there. And then you take 500% more damage whenever you get hit by that. On top of that, in P1, there's also these waves that kind of hunt you down. Whenever you collide with it, it deals damage to all players and causes all players to take 500% increased damage. So he's going to send a few of them out. The whole goal here is to just stagger how many you're popping at once. Pretty standard stuff. You do one, wait 4 seconds, do another one, wait 4 seconds, do another one. So your slowest players are going to have to soak the first few. So as a Havoc, I hope you like running from these if you get selected, because you will be the last player to be called to soak these. This is a Mythic mechanic only. I don't know what it's going to be like on Heroic. It's just not there. Pretty simple stuff. So Heroic gamers, don't worry about this. This is the Mythic mechanic. A few other things. Overheated, just kind of damage to a player. When it goes away, shoots up waves. Lava Geyser is just random eruptions on the ground that put down a puddle, so nothing too crazy. And then Blistering Heat is just this pulsing damage. So P1, basically, the whole thing revolves around the Tank Slam and Seeking Inferno and the waves. So there's waves to dodge, which is fine. Then every time there's a Tank Slam, big damage to the tank, and then a split that everyone has to get into and split the damage of. Then whenever you have that damage on you, there's a thing you have to be healed of, 1 million healing, which is a lot. When that's gone, everyone blows up a few seconds later at that location, so move. And the tank also has to just yeet themselves away to do a big explosion. And then you have to kind of cycle these. So probably only going to be a few brand damnations per phase, probably like 2 or 3, splitting up the raid each time. And there's also these things where you have to just stagger when you're soaking them, which isn't too crazy, and then avoid waves. So nothing too bad. We'll see how it all works together whenever the raid comes out. And then in stage 2 is World in Flames. I don't know when the stages trigger. I'm not sure if it says anywhere. 100 energy. Yeah, so at 100 energy, he does phase 2. Okay, so P1 is during all the energy, and then P2 is World in Flames. So he does Blazing Soul, which is basically increases how often he does the damage he does and how much damage it does. He has Heating Up, so whenever he gets 100% energy, he just does more damage, and then after doing that 4 times, everyone dies. Then he does Devour Essence, so he slams his weapon on the ground to feast on all the players who have soaked. That causes people to be knocked back and shatters living flames from them that make their way towards Smolderon. And only players affected by brand create living flames. And living flames are a 5% damage increase for Smolderon if they hit them. But if you hit them, you get this 24,000 fire damage, which isn't that much. And then you also get a 20% damage amp for 10 seconds. Damage and healing done. Healing's only 10%. It stacks, but you don't get any more of them. The whole idea here is that in P1, and the World in Flames is 4 times. So P1, you're doing the soak. He fills up with energy. P2, he removes the soak from you that increases the damage you take. He tries to suck them all into himself to make him do more damage. You grab those orbs, you deal more damage, repeat. So interesting cyclical boss, where the first phase has you soaking his hammer, dodging mechanics, stuff like that. And then the second phase is all healing, to do healing throughput, and then just sucking up those orbs and getting a big fat damage bonus. The damage amps are always pretty fun. Well, we'll see how this one is. Hopefully everyone's just gonna soak their own, and it's not gonna be this thing where you all just line up behind the Destro. I guess Demon Warlock was nerfed. You all line up behind the Fire Mage. He soaks 19 of these things. He gets what's 19 times 20? 380% damage increase. It'd be more than that. And he just blasts the boss. Hopefully that's not what happens. So parsing on this boss is going to be an absolute bitch. So good luck with that. Because if you're not getting a ton of these, then good luck parsing. So we'll see what happens there. But it's an interesting fight where you can like decide who gets all these buffs. Like maybe your healer is going to give you a buff. Maybe if you don't have damage, then you'll give someone else your buff. But you know, maybe as a healer you also want the healing done. So interesting stuff to parse through there. We'll see how it ends up working out. I don't know. It's like a cyclical boss. It could be good, could be bad. Damage amps. There's a lot of them in this raid. So I don't know. We'll see. That's kind of it. We're just gonna wait to see till testing comes out. Okay, so the second last boss of the raid is Tindral Sage Swift, Seer of the Flame. If you look at them here, he has his human form, his boomy form, which by the way looks amazing. Like this is really sick. I really hope Moonkins get this form. I think they do. This is an amazing form. Owl form. This is a mount you can get from the last boss, and then tree. So lots of different stuff. So this is the dragon riding boss, and again on Mythic, there's a little more dragon riding stuff to it. There's 5 different stages. There's a lot of things in this one. So stage 1, he is in his Moonkin form for the most part. So we look here on the overview, he talks about it. So lots of things happening here. But basically what happens is he's going to basically form shift a lot, and each form he has different stuff. So first one here is his human form. He has melee attacks that do fire damage, whatever. And he has also a tank mechanic with mushrooms. Basically what happens is he puts these mushrooms out, and one mushroom is poison and one mushroom is fire. The fire increases the damage from poison mushrooms, and the fire increases the damage from the fire mushrooms. So imagine there's going to be 2 happen. So one tank has to take a fire and then go take a poison. Another one has to take a poison and then go take a fire. So pretty interesting tank mechanic. Don't know what's going to really happen there. I don't know how many you have to take. Probably just going to be alternating every 2 seconds for 8 seconds. So you'll take 2 of each. It's a really unique tank mechanic there. We'll see how that works out in game, but sounds cool. He has this thing called Fiery Growth, which just causes fire to grow inside of people. Oh. And whenever it's removed, you get a Lingering Cinder and leaving a ground at their location. So Lingering Cinder is just 20,000 fire damage every 3 seconds, every second for 3 seconds. So lots of damage there, and then just a little puddle. Causes stars to fall, deal damage to people around, not too bad. Then he just kind of roots people. You have to break up. You have to destroy the roots. So nothing too crazy here. Cool tank mechanic. Then he can shift into his Moonkin form, which causes him to just kind of sunfire people every 3 seconds. He also shoots out a fire beam. So fire beam, just a big beam that sweeps the platform. And he also creates multiple beams at the area, doing a ton of damage, and then creating additional beams afterwards. Indian food boss. Yes, very spicy boss. Lots of fire. Then he also has the owl form. So he can turn into an owl, and then he summons feathers, allowing players to jump on the dragon riding mounts, and he shoots the platform with fire bombs. And as a dragon rider, you have to go onto your mount and fly through the thingy. You have to fly through one, and you get Roiling Flame, which basically whenever you land, you deal 500,000 fire damage to enemies around you. The whole idea of the first phase is you're doing the tank mechanic, you're dealing with these puddles you have to dispel, you're dodging fire beams, and then you're hopping on your dragon riding mount, soaring through these fire bombs, and then landing and doing a bunch of damage to the boss as you land. So pretty interesting first phase. Dragon riding is worked into a way that's not too bad, it seems. Not too crazy, not too weird. And then you go into phase 2. Now I don't know when he phases. I don't know if it says it anywhere. Oh, not what I want to do. Roll up here. No idea when they do it. Yeah, prep your flight controllers, get everyone's permission to launch, clear for takeoff. But then we go to the second phase. So there's an intermission where you hop on your dragon riding mounts again. He turns into an owl, and there's things you have to fly through. So there are these dream essences, which are orbs that when you pick them up, gives everybody a 5% damage done buff. No idea when it goes away. We'll see. And then there's also Emerald Wind, which just gives you more vigor and flying speed. So you're chasing after the owl, you're grabbing orbs, you're getting a damage increase. The owl the whole time is throwing tornadoes at you. He's dropping fire bombs in the air. He doesn't want you to reach him. It gets rid of your vigor. You don't want to fall into the ground. And then he lands and he does this thing called Supernova, which is a massive absorb shield that if you don't break it, he blows up for 4.1 million damage. The idea of the intermission, go on your dragon, get damage increase, do not get hit by other things, reach platform, break shield. Now you're in stage 2. In stage 2, he goes into his tree form. All the same mechanics here from part 1. Nothing changes there. But he also has tree form. So Incarnation, Tree of Flame. He turns into a tree and does Suppressive Ember every 6 seconds. Suppressive Ember is a healing absorb that can stack up. Okay. Also can do Tranquility of Flame, which is a Seed of Flame around himself, and you set the platform on fire, doing basically 100,000 fire damage every 1 second for 10 seconds. So it's like 1,000,000 damage. And then he has Seed of Flame, which is a little thing you have to step on, that if you don't step on it, grows into a flaming tree, which is a wipe. So there's little seeds in the ground, you gotta step on them, and then you also increase damage taken from Safeguard. No idea what that is. There's no Safeguard mechanic anywhere, so don't know what that is, but basically you gotta stomp on seeds. If you don't stomp on a seed, 80,000 fire damage every 2 seconds. So 1 tree, 2 trees probably won't kill you. If you get more than that, you'll start to die. And then he also has the Owl mechanic. And then after that, we're going to the air again. We're flying again. Same deal. You fly through another part. You pick up orbs in the sky. You get a 5% damage buff. You go through. You dodge things. You break a shield, and then you're in P3. And you're probably wondering, when does this end? And the answer is it doesn't yet, because we're still going. So in P3, he has a bunch of different mechanics. Same things as before, but he can now also do Supernova, which is the 4.1 million fire damage shield. He can go into the Moonkin form, he can go into the tree form, he can go into the Owl form. So first phase is Moonkin form. You're putting things out on the ground, you're dodging puddles, you're dodging beams. Intermission, you fly in the air, grab some damage, break the absorb. Stage 2, he's a tree, stepping on seeds, healing absorb. Dragon riding thing where you have to hit the thing, land. And then you fly to a third place. Same thing in the other place when you fly, and then you get there and he's all forms at once. So I like how it builds on each other, but I feel like there's a lot going on in this boss. Now, it's second last boss. It's either going to be really cool or really bad, and I don't know which one. So there's a lot here. This one's going to be fun to test. So this is one of those ones where you gotta wait and see. We've never done a Dragon Any boss, so head's kind of overwhelmed from this one, but we only have one boss left. So let's get to it. All right, so we're here on the last boss now, Farok the Blazing. If I seem a little tired, I had to do 20 squats because my channel reward redemption. Whatever, thanks bulk, shout out. So this is a 3-stage boss with an intermission, so like 4 stages basically. And he has an axe, which is the legendary axe. So this boss does drop a legendary, excuse me. So stage 1, lots of mechanics here. I'm gonna be talking a lot in this one. There's like 1 stage, intermission, stage 2, stage 3. So in stage 1, we have roots of Amirdrassil, which are just these little roots. And if any flames touch the roots, tree burns, you're dead. So avoid these, they're just little roots in the ground. We have the mythic mechanic, Shadows of Fearlath. So shadows emerge from its flames on the ground basically and leap towards a target after 6 seconds, doing a ton of damage and applying a mark. Then basically the shadows erupt whenever they hit you, and they just do like a lot of shadow flame damage split evenly. So this is a group soak mechanic. He has Firestorm, which is just a bunch of meteors that hit the ground and create fires upon impact. These raging flames are little puddles, they deal damage. So these are baited by players, so that's important to remember that. So he summons a meteor down, deals damage within 9 yards, makes a 9-yard puddle, and then he also has some AoE damage that comes out because the meteors split out and hit the tree. After that, we have Wildfire, which is him just hitting the tree with an axe, which deals a ton of damage. And then Raging Flames spread near my locations and deal more damage. And then if it goes through root, the whole tree burns. So those mechanics are kind of just you as the raid group baiting the puddles away from the roots in the ground. Hopefully, we're not going to test this, so this could be miserably hard. It could be pretty doable. We'll have to see. A few other mechanics. Dream Rend, it just opens a rift to the Firelands. It's a big suck. If you get sucked in the rift, you're dead. Oh, nothing too crazy there. There's also fires that shoot out. Pretty standard stuff, just a suck. Blaze, just AoE flames that shoot out, dealing damage to everybody. Healing mechanic, pulses damage, puts a dispel on people. Just get the dispel done. Then Bite, which is the thing we were talking about earlier, where he hits a target, shoots out a mark that can stack up. It deals 20,000 fired, 300,000 Shadow Flame damage to whoever wears the mark, which can stack up, and then just shoots out some fireballs. And then finally, we have Predator, where whenever you move him, he jumps at you and hits you with a melee. So nothing too crazy in this first part here. Just some things like a flame, burning presence, stuff like that. So different little mechanics to worry about, but the whole idea is to avoid the flames from hitting the roots. So stage 1, you're a firefighter, making sure the flames never hit the roots. You go over to stage the intermission, and here's when he's trying to corrupt the tree. So he begins to corrupt the heart, which gains an absorb shield equal to his maximum health. And he pulses with damage, and after 30 seconds, if you don't break that shield, you lose, the tree burns. Also does fire breath in front of him, so don't stand in front of him. He does Incarnate, where he just leaps into the sky as a dragon and slams down, dealing damage to everybody. Shoots out orbs, and he gains something called Burning Heart. So these orbs are things you just don't want to let hit him. This is the third orb mechanic, where the boss shoots out orbs and sucks them back in, and you gotta avoid these orbs so that you don't get sucked, you don't get bad effects. Whenever they hit you, they deal 166,000 to everybody. Whenever he hits them, he deals damage and just deals more damage forever for the rest of the encounter. So soak these orbs. There's probably gonna be some way to do it. I don't know it off the top of my head, not my job. Burning scales, just AoE damage. So we're out of stage 1 and stage 2. Then we're on stage 3. So power surges in the heart as Farok manifests living shadow flame to aid him. The heart of Amirdrassil shoots out spirits of the Kaldori, which are these spirits that transfer the remaining health to the world tree. At any point, if the world tree runs out of health, it burns and you lose. So whole thing here is to make sure the spirits get back into the tree at pretty good health. Don't know if you can heal them. I imagine you can. And then he just has a bunch of other mechanics we've seen already with the burning things. So Frat calls on burning meteors, deals damage. But this time, instead of putting puddles on the ground, he makes an ad you have to kill. And the ad, I believe, also deals damage to little spirits. Meteor, same thing. Just big thing from the sky. Don't be near it. Deal less damage the further away you are. He does a big shadow flame thing that summons a bunch of ads. So he sweeps across its surface, spewing flames in a line. 4.1 million shadow flame instantly, an additional 4.1 million every 5.5 seconds to players standing in the area, and he creates flame spawn. And the flame spawn hunt down the spirits, so they instantly destroy them. So he sweeps across the platform, summons a bunch of ads. You need to kill the ads right away. So this is burst AoE. Havoc, very good at that, which is very good. You do not want these ads staying up, because the ads stay up, the spirits don't reach the tree, and you don't get that healing done, which is very bad. It goes into something like Blaze, which is all stuff we've seen before. Burning Presence, all stuff we've seen before. So P2 is all about ad management and healing up the spirits. Rock's going to try and stop the spirits from reaching the tree. Your job is to deal damage to him, deal damage to ads, let the spirits hit the tree. If the tree ever dies, you die. So keep the tree alive. That's the important part here. And then finally, we go into phase 3. He unleashes his full power as an incarnate in Amirdrassil's final hour. So tree is burning down around you. You're on the top of the new world tree. You're fighting a dragon covered in shadow flame who's trying to turn the tree into this tree of flame to spread fire throughout the world. You're trying to stop him. The tree's almost dead. He's almost dead. You're almost dead. Epic final moment. That's called lore. Anyways, the main mechanic here is Seed of Amirdrassil. So the tree begins to bloom, and these little seeds form on its surface, which can be carried by players. What that means is that we're going to do a little old egg dodging. So if anyone ever did the, what was it, the raid? I don't remember what it was. The glory achievement from Vault of the Incarnates for Broodkeeper Arena, where you had these eggs. Or maybe it was one of these bosses. I don't remember. There's one boss where you have to throw eggs around. Same thing. So you have these seeds. The seeds can trigger a bloom. If it's hit by any fire abilities, you're getting a corrupted seed. So, blooms. You get these seeds. It blooms into a flower, shielding any player within 9 yards for 1.1 million damage for 6 seconds. So the idea for these is you're taking a lot of damage in the last phase. You're fighting an incarnate at full power. Nothing you can do about that. With Shadow Flame, by the way, so stronger than Razageth. And the tree is blooming these seeds to help protect you. And then if you walk these seeds into fire, they turn against you and start just pumping you full of damage. So other mechanics he does, Internal Firestorm, bunch of meteors, we've done this before, dodge those. Apocalypse Roar does a bunch of damage that pushes everyone away and applies a debuff, which you gotta just kind of dispel. So Mass Dispel's gonna be good here, although it is nerfed now, so we'll see what happens there. Shadow Flame Breath, a bunch of damage. Blaze is him just shooting out fire waves, so watch out for those. And then he has something called Incarnate. Leaps in the sky above Amirdrassil and descends, dealing damage. Burning Scales is him pulsing. Burning Maw is just a massive damage effect to the primary tank. The whole last phase here, you're taking a ton of damage. You're using these seeds from Amirdrassil to absorb this damage in your whole raid, so you're staying stacked up, protecting the seeds, dodging fire mechanics. If a seed gets hit by fire, you're cooked. You're just avoiding fire, taking a ton of damage, 1.4 million Shadow Flame damage to all players. So that is when you need that seed. You're using the seed to avoid Apocalypse Roar as he just tries to kill you, and the tree is protecting you. So the fight sounds absolutely epic. No idea how this is going to shake out. There's so much here. Like the last few bosses are just so complex that there's nothing really for me to say. Not just reading you the mechanics. So it looks kind of crazy. It sounds cool. Visually, I'm sure it'll be beautiful. So lots of stuff going on there. But we're not going to test this boss. So we're not going to find out what this boss is all about until we hit him probably in like November, October, when the next raid comes out. So lots of stuff that we're not sure about. Lots of things happening here. Going to be very cool when this fight happens. So keep your eyes peeled for this. This is going to be really cool. But yeah, so that's going to be it. Hey, Coachy, thank you for the follow, man. Again, I'm live on Twitch as I'm doing this. So that's going to be it for my little Dungeon Journal raid review. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Lots of stuff happening in this raid. I'm going to be streaming the testing on Heroic. So this Thursday, this Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, and then next Thursday, next Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern. If you want to come see how Havoc Demon Hunter's doing in the raid, you want to come see what the boss fights are out, check me out on Twitch. I'm going to be here when I record videos sometimes. I record this one live on Twitch, so go check that out. Like the video, subscribe, comment what you're excited for. I'll see you guys next time.